The tragic life and death of Charles Shackleford will always be remembered. He had the talent to build a great basketball career, but his life took a turn that no one saw coming. His crimes and personal struggles ended up overshadowing everything he accomplished on the court. It's a heartbreaking story, one filled with promise, pain, and missed chances. So let's get into it and take a closer look at how it all unfolded. It all began in March 1990. At the time, Shackleford was still early in his professional basketball career. He was arrested in Orange, New Jersey for possession of several grams of marijuana. Now, this wasn't a criminal charge, just an offense. But still, it raised eyebrows. It also didn't fall under the NBA's anti-drug program, so it didn't result in a suspension or fine from the league. But even though it seemed like a minor incident, he was still sentenced to probation. It was the first public sign that things might not be as stable off the court as they were supposed to be. Fast forward more than a decade to January 2006, and things had clearly spiraled further. During a routine traffic stop in Johnston County, North Carolina, Shackleford was arrested again. This time the charges were more serious. He was caught with a concealed weapon and found to be in possession of both marijuana and cocaine. That wasn't just a slap on the wrist anymore. It pointed to deeper problems, ones that couldn't be ignored. He was released after posting an $11,000 bond, but his name was back in the headlines, and not for anything related to basketball. By 2010, Shackleford's legal troubles were coming in waves. In January of that year, things took another odd turn. A car belonging to former NBA player Jason Williams rear-ended another vehicle in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. When the police showed up, Williams claimed he was the one behind the wheel. But as it turns out, Shackleford later admitted he had been driving the car. This led to charges of driving with a suspended license and giving false information to police. Another arrest, another mugshot, and another step further from the life he once had. Unfortunately, it didn't stop there. Just a few months later, in July 2010, Shackleford was arrested once again, this time in his hometown of Kinston, North Carolina. In a sting operation, he was caught selling prescription drugs to an undercover deputy. It was a heartbreaking moment. Here was a former NBA player, someone who had once played professionally overseas and had a national profile, now caught up in street-level drug deals. The situation was so bleak that he couldn't even afford a private attorney. The court had to assign him a public defender because by that point, all the money he had earned during his career was gone. And then just a few years later, the story came to its tragic end. On the morning of January 27, 2017, Charles Shackleford was found dead in his home in Kinston. He was only 50 years old. The cause of death was a heart attack. There was no scandal this time, no arrest or headlines about trouble with the law. Just a quiet, somber end to a life that had seen so many highs and lows. Now let's shift the focus to his basketball career. A reminder of just how great Charles Shackleford could have been. Shackleford first made his name at North Carolina State University, where he played for the Wolfpack in the tough-as-nails Atlantic Coast Conference from 1985 to 1988. Early on, fans gave him the nickname Shaq, and he quickly became known as the team's indispensable man. His size, strength, and rebounding made him a standout in the paint. But not everything was smooth off the court. In the fall of 1986, Shackleford was suspended from school because of poor grades. It wasn't just a slap on the wrist. His academic struggles were serious enough that it took an appeal and a unique agreement involving NC State's chancellor, Bruce Polton, to get him reinstated. The deal required Shackleford to attend all of his classes, and it showed just how much the university was willing to bend the rules for a player they believed was key to their success. Still, not everyone believed he belonged in college. Richard Lawfer, former head of the school's physical education department, openly said Shackleford had no interest in learning and should have never been in school in the first place. Comments like that would follow him throughout his career, always raising questions about whether basketball was the only thing keeping his life structured. On the court, though, Shaq delivered. In 1988, his junior year, he led the ACC in rebounding and earned all ACC honors. He was a force, tough, aggressive, and relentless under the rim. That same year, he decided to leave school early and declare for the NBA draft, citing financial hardship. It was a big step, but one he was ready for. In the 1988 NBA draft, Shackleford was selected in the second round with the 32nd overall pick by the New Jersey Nets. His first 2 seasons in the league showed promise. He played 130 games, starting in 37 of them, and slowly carved out a role for himself. The 1989-90 season was his best in the NBA. He averaged 8.2 points, 6.8 rebounds, and logged 22.2 minutes per game. But one night in particular stood out above all. On February 20th, 1990, he scored a career-high 23 points and grabbed 26 rebounds in a game against the Milwaukee Bucks. That rebound number tied the second most ever by a Nets player in a single game, a record that stood strong for years. But despite that breakout performance, Shackleford's time with the Nets didn't turn into long-term success. After 2 seasons, he made a bold move. He left the NBA to play overseas in Italy. He joined Finola Caserta in the Italian Serie A, and this is where things really clicked. In the 1999-91 season, Shackleford dominated the league, averaging 19.7 points and a league-best 15.8 rebounds per game. His performance helped Caserta win their first-ever championship, and he became a star overseas. While many players struggled to adjust to European basketball, Shaq thrived. He was bigger, stronger, and more experienced than most of his opponents. His success in Italy caught the attention of NBA teams again, and in 1991, he returned to the United States, signing a 3-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. The contract reportedly guaranteed 2 years with an annual salary of $1.3 million. In the 1991-92 season, he started 62 out of 72 games, putting up respectable numbers: 6.6 points and 5.8 rebounds a game. But once again, the momentum didn't last. After 2 seasons with the Sixers, he found himself on the move again. Shackleford returned to Italy in 1993 to rejoin Caserta, this time under a $1 million deal. He picked up right where he left off, leading the league in rebounds once more. It was clear that while he couldn't quite find consistency in the NBA, he was a dominant presence in Europe. In September 1994, he signed with the Minnesota Timberwolves for another shot at the NBA. But this stint was short-lived. He played just 21 games and was waived in February 1995. At this point, most players might have faded away quietly, but not Shackleford. He packed his bags again, this time heading to Turkey to join Ulkerspor in the Turkish Basketball League. And once again, he showed up in a big way. During the 1995-96 EuroLeague season, he led the league in rebounds, averaging 12.4 per game. Despite his performance, things didn't end well. He was released due to an injury and was also criticized for what the team called a lack of motivation and unwillingness to work. It was a tough blow, especially since he was the highest-paid import player in Turkish basketball history at the time. Still, Shackleford didn't give up. He went to Greece and joined Aris Thessaloniki for the 1996-97 season. There, he added another highlight to his career, helping the team win the 1997 Korach Cup, a European third-tier championship. Despite battling arthritis, he led the league in rebounding and was praised for his defensive impact in the finals. It was a gritty, hard-earned victory that proved Shaq still had plenty of fight left in him. After knee surgery, he made a brief attempt to return to the NBA with the Washington Wizards in 1997, but he was released within a week. Not giving up, he returned to Greece again, this time with PAOK, and continued playing professionally. He even had a brief run with the Idaho Stampede in the Continental Basketball Association before one last shot at the NBA. In January 1999, Shackleford signed with the Charlotte Hornets. He played 32 games in the lockout-shortened 1998-99 season, which would mark the end of his professional career. When his contract expired in July of that year, he tried out for multiple NBA teams but didn't land a spot. After years of bouncing between leagues, teams, and countries, Charles Shackleford quietly stepped away from the game in 2000. Looking back, it's hard not to wonder what might have been. Shackleford had size, skill, and moments of pure dominance. From college stardom to setting records overseas, he had the kind of career that showed just how high he could fly when things were going right. But it was also a career defined by instability, moving from team to team, dealing with injuries, and always battling against the weight of off-court issues that followed him. And that's a wrap for today's video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you never miss an update. We'll catch you next time. Until then, take care and goodbye.